Hi, I'm Carolina, your podcast host and expert womb healer. Over the past 5 years, I've served over 500 women to remove physical blockages in their bodies. We achieve this with Reiki. I believe healing doesn't have to be done alone, nor should it be. You will hear stories of healing, methods to heal with, and guest speakers covering taboo topics you won't hear anywhere else. Let's continue this journey of womb healing together. Hello, and welcome to the Carolina Your podcast. I'm Carolina, your podcast host and expert womb healer. Today, I am here with Cassie Beard. She is our expert Yoni Steamer, and I couldn't be more excited to dive into this topic. We are talking about the 10 benefits of vaginal steaming. Cassie, can you tell us all about you and where you're tuning in from?
Hi, Carolina. First off,
hello, girlfriend.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited for this conversation with you.
Me too.
Well, yes, my name is Cassie. My full name is Cassandra Beard, but I go by Cassie. A lot of my clients call me Cassie. I'm in Tampa, the Brandon area in Tampa, Florida. And I own the Pink Butterfly Bush Yoni Steam Lounge. It is a very quaint but powerful space that I have here in Brandon, Florida. And I like to call it your Yoni scape, you know.
I love that. Yoni scape.
Yes.
I looked you up on Instagram and I tried to find more. I was telling everyone about it. I was like, I found a vagina salon.
I love it.
And I was like, why isn't this in Nebraska? But we come to Florida, so I'm going to be paying you a visit for sure. I love the whole aesthetic on your Instagram. Where can people find you at? Can you share us your handle?
Yes. So on Instagram, I am at Pink Butterfly Bush, spelled just normally.
Mm-hmm.
My website is www.pinkbutterflybush.com. And through the website, you can get my certification courses, which will soon be released, or anything else, appointments, products. I have apparel, things like that. So
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
So can you tell us essentially what vaginal steaming is essentially? Let's start with what is it exactly? I feel like there is a lot of misconceptions out there exactly what vaginal steaming is.
Yes, I would agree with you. Some would confuse it with a vajacial. That's more of a topical thing, that you put on top of your fupa area. But vaginal steaming, you're actually sitting or hovering above a set of steam, a bowl of steam, whether it be in a crock pot, over a hot.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
A crock pot.
Mm-hmm. You can use a crock pot. You could just boil the water with the put the herbs in there and put it in a bowl and hover over that. So it's a very simple practice. It doesn't take a whole plethora of energy to get one set up at home, or even when you go to the spa. Now a lot more goes into it in a spa, but to do it at home, it's not tedious at all. And you really sit there for about 10 to 20 to 30 minutes, depending on your set, circumstances. And you really enjoy a nice warm bath on your yoni, on your vagina, on whatever you want to call it. But it feels amazing. And a lot of times she will tell you when she's ready for another one. It's almost like one of those things where it's like, oh, I like that feeling. I want that feeling again. So it's definitely something I do monthly. A lot of my clients, they come to me, they've never heard of it, but definitely wanted to try it. A lot of people see it on TV. You know how that goes. Real Housewives and
I think the Kardashians did an episode and they were talking about Yoni steaming. They even talked about Reiki too.
Yes.
It was Courtney. Yes. She's like the super alternative, healthy one.
Yep. And she was talking about it. Yep. So a lot of people spark interest when they see other people doing it, but when they really start trying it, they're like, wow, this isn't, something that's just a fad type of thing. A lot of people think that it just popped up. It did not.
Can you talk about where Yoni Steaming has originated from? Because I think it's super important to establish these practices and these rituals of like, where did they come from? A lot of people sage and they don't understand where that actually come from, or if it's a closed practice in that. So Yoni steaming is not a closed practice.
No.
It is a open practice. So
Yes.
people of any walk of
And
life can go ahead and partake and do that in their homes or at a business like yourself.
Absolutely. Africa, ancient Greece, ancient Chinese ages where they were steaming and smoking back in the day. Men were doing it too. So smoking it's not steaming. Steaming is using the moist heat from the water, but there's also a form of smoking where it's dry. It's not with the water. And so that's
I never heard of that before. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
I don't offer smoking.
My mind's being blown right now. And I'm just like trying to visualize, would I be comfortable with that?
So you with smoking, you don't typically like sit like you do over a steam. You're not that close. So what you do is though, you can have it on the floor and you just stand over it. And then stand over it for some time. And that's what you would call smoking. So
interesting. And both men and women can do smoking or steaming?
Absolutely. Men can steam. Now they steam the prostate area, and while women are steaming the vaginal area. And steaming, really, you're going to get the steam in both areas. So steaming can actually help with hemorrhoids too, things that anal side. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's super good to know. So let's dive in. What are the top 10 benefits of vaginal steaming?
So these are my top 10 benefits. I'm going to say that because, there's no official, these are the top, but I'm going to say these are my top.
Well, you're my guest expert, so we'll take it as gold.
Yes, ma'am.
Because you're also you're actually certified in this, correct?
Certified peristeam facilitator, yes. I've been doing this for over 2 years. I've been practicing it for over 3. Now I've steamed well over 2,000 vaginas. It's definitely...
How many people can say that? I have steamed 2,000 vaginas.
Yes. And I plan
Can I touch upon this before we actually get started? As you and I had talked about, I have been a little bit privy to what Yoni Steaming is, vaginal steaming, and I know a little bit about the benefits, but do you find that people think that this is a little bit of a taboo topic?
Yes.
Why do you think that is so? Because I'm a womb healer and I use all the words, and I teach my son to use the word penis and vagina.
So glad you were saying this.
Like, it is what it is. These are in Spanish, I'll be like, these are my tetas. Yes. But like he says breast and nipple. Girl. We don't make it shameful. But do you find that the fact that if someone were to discuss Yoni steaming would be taboo and or they...
Absolutely.
Why is that?
I will say it. Culturally, the Western cultures are, shy away from holistic practices in themselves sometimes, just based off of the whole, there's no scientific evidence, there's no, that type of argument. So you'll have, you'll have that aspect, but also exactly what you just said is a big part of it. Using the word vagina is so taboo. When I was even a child, I was told to call it something else, a cookie, a pocketbook, something else.
Oh, yeah. Some people call it cookie or cooter. I don't like that word.
Yeah, I hate that word. And I love that you said that you are raising your children to actually just call it what it is. It's not shameful. It's not something that we should be hiding. And we got to live with the thing. So why would we ever have to, turn it
right?
That shouldn't be talked about. So that is another reason. So you're actually, it's on top of the fact that you are kind of taking medicine in your own hands to some degree. You're taking the power to heal yourself into your hands. That is scary to some industries, some people. Not to say that you don't need doctors. I'm a big proponent of, listen, these are my tune-ups in between my gyno visits, okay? Because I'm still going to go to the doctor.
I 100% agree. 100% agree. Nothing replaces, no Reiki, no crystals, no herbal thing replaces the use and placement and role and the necessary need of a medical provider, a doctor, a gynecologist, an OB, emergency visit. Don't think anything online that's alternative or whatever replaces the use of appropriate medical care, because it's never the case. And if anyone says this modality or this substance or something cures cancer or something, run.
Oh my goodness, no.
Do your research, be diligent. Yeah. Don't take things lightly. I can never say those things enough.
Absolutely. I'm glad you, yes.
Thank you for sharing that, because I think that also is like people are, depending on what they're going through, they overlook, like they wait too long to go to the doctor.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And that is a problem in itself. I will say
true.
I've noticed a lot of people kind of treat steaming the same way. They've kind of waited a while. They've been dealing with some symptoms. Maybe they have been to the doctor and just are not getting relief, and then they do decide to try steaming. But you have to kind of act once you notice something. So let me jump into these benefits.
Let's jump into it, girl. We could talk forever about so many things. Top 10 benefits of vaginal steaming. Go for it, Cassie.
Yes. Okay. So these are the benefits that you 9 times out of 10 can enjoy if you happen to struggle with something along these lines. Okay. So I will say that. So if you don't have menstrual pain, it's not going to necessarily give you menstrual pain. So
gotcha.
So I'm going to start from my number 10, and it's kind of just jumping right in, hot and heavy. Relief from sexual ties and trauma. If you've just gotten out of a relationship, could have been a toxic relationship, a lot of women feel like steaming is definitely a time for them to reconnect with their womb, recharge their feminine energy, so to speak, and renew themselves. So definitely can get a sense of release after a steam. You feel a little lighter. It's essentially detoxing from your, that area. So you're going to feel a little different. And it's definitely one of the reasons why women seek to steam. I do have a lot of clients that are like, I just got this horrible relationship. I knew I needed a Yoni steam.
So it's not just like physical cleansing, it's also emotional.
Yes. Any kind of sexual trauma, things like that can definitely be released during a session. I actually offer what I call like a sensu steam, and it's steaming while meditating. So it's a guide, and you just kind of enjoy the steam and you follow along. You're taking deep breaths. You're, following along in your mind, and you really go to a different place while you're steaming. And that is amazing. I've had a few clients, emotional release, like you said, crying can definitely happen. It's definitely renewing and rejuvenating.
Can we touch upon the reason why that area, that steaming your yoni is essentially steaming your sacral plexus chakra? This chakra holds on to a lot of stored emotion. Stored emotion that can actually block the chakra and lead to a lot of like complications in fertility, pregnancy, birth. And a lot of the most common stuck emotions in there are shame, blame, guilt, fear, abandonment, neglect, and all of those can come from so many different relationships. So steaming, just in general, I love that when we talk about different modalities here on the podcast, because there's just not one way to heal. There's not one way to release things. And I want to put in perspective of the listeners why this potentially could also be another tool in their spiritual toolbox or a physical toolbox to help them heal. So if you're doing Reiki work with me and you want to do steaming, or if you're perhaps maybe seeing a therapist and maybe talk therapy works really well for you, this can actually
aid in that,
amplify and go along with anything traditional that you might be doing. Or some people, I know when I was doing talk therapy a couple of years ago, recovering my postpartum, I hit a wall in my healing. This would have been really great to help me have that breakthrough. If you've been plateauing in your healing and you're like, like you're on the cusp of something, that really could really impact somebody's healing journey to have that kind of release and not have to talk about it.
Absolutely.
Oh, I love that.
Yes, you're right. Because
Oh, and you said cords. So cords are like connection. So the technical term that I know is called etheric cords, and that's a cord that connects you to, in this case, your lover or your sexual partner, and it's breaking that emotional tie. It's dissolving it. So that they no longer have access to your energy, and your energy returns sovereign to you, particularly sovereign to your womb, returning your power to you.
And in Reiki, you probably definitely deal with that a lot, don't you?
100%. That's basically 90% of what we do.
Wow. Wow.
Restoring your power. It may not be from sexual partners, but it's restoring the power, because as women, we give our power away so much.
Yeah. We're nurturers, we're servers. Yeah.
What's number 2? Sorry, I interrupted you so much.
Okay, so I'm going to go to, that was number 10. I'm going to go to number 9. Increased libido and vaginal sensation. This is a popular amongst all women, I would say. You know, why not? But just, you know, when you're steaming, you're getting those secretions going naturally. Natural secretions. You're opening those pores so that the circulation really helps the blood flow, and you can naturally get moist. So that's the point when it comes.
She said the word people. She said moist. Moist.
Yeah. Because that's what we want. We want natural moisture.
You don't want to have to go to Walgreens and get a lubricant aisle.
You know.
But if you need
it, it doesn't help. It doesn't hurt, and make sure it's natural if you're getting it. But definitely helps with keeping your vaginal canal lubricated.
All the listeners are like running to kayak.com, Expedia, booking their tickets to come to Brandon, Florida, to be like, yes, please. I need the pink butterfly bush right now. Stop!
Got you, girl. Yes. And this comes from the herbs. A lot of it also comes from the herbs. So if you're using herbs that are moisturizing, they help hydrate. I have a steam called Mother Moisture, and it has nettles, which is very moisturizing. Rose petals is an astringent herb. Now that helps tighten and tone. So it's
roses is one of I learned was the most high vibrational flower on earth. I want all of that in my yoni.
Yes. I have every one of them. And then jasmine flowers.
Can steam make your yoni smell different?
Yes. Okay, just to recap, so we've got relief from sexual ties and trauma. We've talked about how it can increase your libido with vaginal sensation, increase the moisture as well. Now let's talk about fibroid management and reduction. So it can definitely help with fibroids, and I am a testimony to that. So I've struggled a lot with pain and heavy bleeding, a lot of bleeding, I would say, like I was dying from my fibroids. And oh my God, it's so miraculous. Even when I talk about this, it's like, what? My mind is blown, but I have turned my period around tremendously. Heavy bleeding is a thing of the past. Cramping is a thing of the past. And last time I got my fibroids checked, they were smaller. I
love that. Yeah. So just so everyone knows, so like if you have severe cramping where it's debilitating and you have severe like bleeding, go to your doctor. That's not normal.
No, that's not normal. No.
So yeah. So debilitating periods shouldn't be a thing. If so, then you need to go see your doctor. There's something that's not right.
Yeah, absolutely. The fix they offered me for me to try was birth control. And I did try birth control, but it messed with my hormones, I will say. My mood.
I hate that that's the answer for everything, instead of getting to the root cause of like what is really wrong, instead of the Band-Aid fix, or like, but like what really is like the problem.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. It worked for some time, especially because of the age I was at the time. I was younger and things like that. But at this age, I want to have some kids eventually. I don't want to be on birth control all the time. So steaming has definitely helped me manage my fibroid pain and just controlling the bleeding. So it really helps, especially depending on where your fibroids are located too. Like, I'm no doctor or anything, but you're definitely, like she said, go to the doctor, because it depends on where your fibroids are located, how deep they are, and if the steam can actually help reduce them in size. And it's kind of like a liquefying thing is what it does, because fibroids are pretty much congealed phlegm.
Can you steam while you're pregnant?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Okay, it's good to know. So, I had a friend who had really bad fibroids while she was pregnant. And they were very painful.
Oh, bless her heart. No, you should not steam while you're pregnant unless you're
good to know
for labor prep. So
good to know that too.
To prepare for labor, it helps soften your cervix and open your cervix and make the process much smoother for you.
You know, in all of and I consider myself, I mean, I'm not a doula, but in all of I've taken a lot of childbirth education classes. I have never ever in all the doulas I have talked to, and even the ones I had hired for my own birth, no one has ever mentioned
steaming.
You know, they say have sex because the semen will soften the cervix. Walk, eat spicy foods, all of these things. No one has ever told me that you can steam to soften the cervix to prepare for birth. Mind blown right now. Ladies, that's another episode.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Wow, you're blowing my mind today, Cassie.
It's amazing. Yeah, you can use it for so many things. So yes, that is one of them. Very popular one, regulating the menstrual cycle and kickstarting an absent menses. So if you don't have a period and you're of childbearing ages, a lot of women try steaming to help kickstart it again. The circulation again. The purpose of steaming, it helps that uterine lining shed. So if it's not shedding properly, the warmth, the circulation, the benefits of those herbs being absorbed through the vaginal tissues are going to help bring that lining down and come out. And that's why
there's a lot of women that don't have regular periods because maybe they have endometriosis or they have PCOS, and they're also both very painful.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, that's so great. There's so many benefits to this. This is incredible. Yeah. Keep going. Yeah. What's the next one?
Reduce yeast infections or other bacteria. Help manage them. So I even use steaming as a preventative measure. Like sometimes you can maybe feel like, oh, maybe something's coming on, or sense it, probably based on what you may have eaten or been doing lately. Then you can steam with disinfecting herbs to help rid of that bad bacteria. A lot of times after you steam, you will see little, discharge that comes out as a result, which is the result of the bad bacteria coming out. It helps maintain the vaginal flora. So good smelling cooch, I would say.
I love that.
Yes. Helps maintain that vaginal.
But nobody wants to stink down there.
No. Especially when you're using rose petals and jasmine and lavender. Like,
oh, jasmine.
Yes. It's gonna absorb and you're gonna smell good. What else do we have? Okay, miscarriage recovery.
Oh, this is a heavy one.
Yes, it is. It is very heavy, and I have to pause myself. I had miscarriage a couple years ago, but
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. So it helps with the recovery mentally, emotionally, as well as physically. Just really, if you got that bleeding, continuous, bleeding, it can help control that.
Unfortunately, with the fertility journey, and especially with like fertility drugs and treatments that may have failed, sometimes miscarriage is a part of that. And sometimes the bleeding is long and very painful. Is that something that somebody could do at home?
Yes, they could, as long as they are being monitored, walked through with a certified facilitator. I wouldn't this is definitely one of those times I would not grab the plastic pot, put it on the toilet. I wouldn't do that option.
No plastic allowed with steaming.
No.
None.
No. I definitely.
Okay. So if someone is going through, and how quickly or how soon is that steaming appropriate? Is that based on person, or is there a general, like, you have to wait a week, or
so it's
what is that? What's that like?
Based on your symptoms. So if you have ongoing heavy bleeding, I don't recommend that you steam. If this is something that's kind of, you still have trickles left, dark brown, nothing fresh, bright red, that means it's fresh blood. If you still have fresh blood, I don't recommend steaming in any circumstance. So if you have passed that point, but you do still have some lingering bleeding going on that's not your regular period, then I would say that's a good time that you can steam.
Got it. That's going to be powerful for a lot of women. What's your next point? I'm hanging on every word.
Postpartum recovery. And this
so
is a big
important.
one. Yeah. Dealing with the emotions. Like I said, it's something that's going to captivate your entire body, mind, body, and spirit. So you can recover from depression as well with the aid of vaginal steaming. A lot of this, what we're talking about, is not going to be, I steamed once and I got this healing. A lot of this is a journey. So keep in mind, as I'm giving these points, these are with you continuously, making sure, interweaving steaming in your life, using it for what it's worth.
What I like to emphasize is a lot of clients or potential clients, I'll get a DM on Instagram or on TikTok, and they're saying, I do Reiki womb clearings, and it's to clear that trauma out so that they can be as well prepared for like their next cycle or their next fertility treatment as possible to ensure that chakra is open.
Mm-hmm.
But usually there's a lot of trauma, and everyone has a story, everyone has had pain points. So I always say healing is not a one-time event, and this is not the 7-Eleven or the drive-through of healing. Healing has to be something you have a relationship with. And that's why I started this podcast, is because a lot of women don't have a relationship with healing and understanding that you can heal in different ways, but through healing, you'll discover who you are on a deeper level. And that's like, and it all starts with your womb. Everything that you create in your life is from your womb.
Oh.
So whether it's Yoni Steaming or Reiki or talk therapy with your therapist, or maybe like, I don't know, I've never done it, but some people do ayahuasca or whatever is your thing that you're doing safely, it's not a one-time event. It's a journey, like you said, and it has to be a consistent practice that you're providing and creating space for, and you're prioritizing.
Yeah.
You cannot be, I steamed once and I'm cured for life. No, like,
and
no.
If you're looking to really recover and heal from something, you have to actually treat each session as such. Don't, I wouldn't go for because I'm sure your podcast is going to be heard by women all over the country. And so everyone won't be in Florida and come to me, but I serve tea during my service. And
I love that.
People, don't beat me up. I'm going to say this. I just don't recommend drinking alcohol during a steam session. But a lot of people do serve champagne or alcoholic beverages and margaritas even sometimes. And I've seen people give a whole meal, honey, shrimp and grits and everything. And it's like, But
when do you want to go take a poop? Like, you be sitting on that and you get all warm in there. You like, I go to Target and I want to take a poop.
You start
like the people are gonna be like, I'm never listening to your podcast again. She goes to go to Target, take a poop. Tell me that you don't go to Starbucks at Target and then you walk a few things. You're like, I gotta go.
It runs right through.
Tell me I'm wrong, and I'll bet you $100. I'll buy you a Starbucks gift card. You think I'm wrong? It
runs right through you. I know.
Yeah, exactly. So and another thing is, like with Reiki, I ethically cannot have alcohol 24 hours before I do a session. I'm not a drinker anyway. Right. I drank champagne when I went to a marriage conference.
Yeah.
and one glass made me loopy, and I was flirting with the check-in lady. I was like, hey! So like, I can imagine like sitting on a stool, wrapped a blanket around me, and having steam up into my vagina. Like,
and
like, where do you fall or something? Like, that's a very delicate, sensitive, like the movements have to be like very careful. That's hot water.
Yeah, right.
What do you mean you serving grits up in there and shrimpies? That's wild. I think I'm a little conservative just because of my training, that I feel like healing should be done with a clear head. You need groundedness so you can have clarity on what you're feeling.
I agree.
And no alternating substances.
Yeah. And that's why I say, whatever rocks your boat, whatever
rocks your boat. I'm just a little bit of a conservative when it comes to that aspect.
And I agree. That's why I kind of in the beginning set off to say, hey, I'm going to serve herbal tea. It's hand blended. This isn't just some Liptons and things like that. I put some love into this tea, blending these teas, and they love it. I
love loose leaf tea.
Yes. Yeah, I have a situation where if they do like a little party, they can BYOB. I leave that in their hands, but I just don't serve alcoholic beverages during my services. So I say that to say, treat it for what it's worth. If you're looking to really get some, let's say, relief from sexual trauma, every session should be intentional. You should set out that intention during that session and not
100%
hanging out, drinking, and girl, I've even seen them smoking hookah with the steaming. So I
have asthma. I can't do that anymore. I tried to do that on my honeymoon and I died.
Oh no!
But in my 20s, it was fun.
I know. Yes. No, I'm not against hookah. I just think that there's a time and place. That's what I say that to say.
I'm dying right now.
Yes.
I can't imagine doing hookah and steaming my vagina. I'd be like so into like what's going down there to be like, the sounds of the hookah. I can't.
Right, hearing it bubble up I know.
Oh my God, Cassie, you're so funny. What's the next point?
The next one, we're down to the final two, and I would say infertility is a steaming, like I talked about before, helps you really complete a full womb cleanse, helps you complete that full womb cleanse and shed that uterine lining. That creates homeostatic environment and perfect for pregnancy. So
I love that.
Yeah, it helps create perfect little fertile ground for your eggs to be implanted on. So I will say I have a success story. A woman definitely told me she steamed pregnant that next month. She's so cute pregnant. So
you're gonna have like a Yoni Steam baby soon.
Yes,
I love that.
So
we have 60 plus Reiki babies, and let me tell you, those kind of stories never get old.
Oh my God!
Never ever. Thank you. I never ever get tired of hearing how babies are brought into the world. So
yes,
love it. Keep up the great work.
Oh, thank you. And last but not least, this is probably the most popular reason why women decide to try steaming is for menstrual pain. Menstrual pain. And it goes right back to that full womb cleanse. A lot of us cramp because our uterus is contracting, trying to push out clots and old stagnant blood that's been in there that hasn't been able to fully cleanse. Once you get a womb cleanse that's fresh, bright blood, minimal clots, your cramping should be the same, minimal to none. I have had literally crampless periods. So I
need that because my periods are actually, they vary depending on the trauma work that I'm doing. I feel like if I have a huge trauma release, then the next period is like, I like to call it a rager.
Wow.
Like because then it's like this big release, and then it's a really heavy, painful period. But then the next 2 or 3 are easier.
Yeah.
But I've always wanted to do a Yoni steam, so we're going to have to talk after the podcast to hook a sister up. Yeah. So can you tell us, so now those are the 10 points. So you mentioned herbs, and now we know that steaming needs to be done safely You need to have, probably if you're going to do it at home, you need to have a special stool so you can Amazon that. You should use either a crock pot or you should use a steaming bowl of water that you've steeped herbs in. Now, how do you know what herbs to use? And then where do you access or get these herbs from? I imagine that that's a very important question because it can't just be the herbs I got from Aldi's.
No, ma'am. It can't be.
I heard that once.
No, ma'am. I would not do that. If you are doing this at home, I recommend just finding either going online or a local place, a certified Yoni Steam facilitator practitioner who has herbs available for you to purchase. They would have properly blended them, properly
Gotcha.
them because you want them to be organic, fresh, sifted, and no pesticides and things like that in them. So I order my herbs from a herb farm in bulk and create my blends that way. I create them in little jars. Now, when people do want them, I put them in little baggies. So I do recommend I really don't recommend an Amazon thing on this either, because you really don't know what you're getting on.
You don't know how old or like the shelf life or the stability. I used to work in pharmaceutical manufacturing. So like a lot of the shelf life has a lot to do with the conditions in which they're stored, the humidity, the temperature, things like that. And herbs can go stale, they can go bad, they can grow moldy, all of the things. So like you don't know what storage conditions that they were given in. And also the storage of these herbs need to be done in certain containers like glass.
Yes.
Or metal. They cannot be done in plastic because then that affects their efficacy and potency.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely.
So how does one is there like a website or an organization someone can find a facilitator in their area?
Ooh, there's a number. Now I'm on a directory from the Peristeam Hydrotherapy Institute. There's a directory of all facilitators and really all over the world. That is a world.
Is that the leading governing organization of Yoni Steaming?
No, it is not, but it is one of the top, I would say. They actually, Steamy Chick, Kelly Garza, she's my instructor, and she's actually creating a documentary on vaginal steaming. So she's a leading empire in this industry, and to kind of getting it back popular, because this is not something that's new, remember, so it's like just getting into the homes of women all over the place and not feeling shame about it and things like that. Because this is what we did before we could go to, the doctor up the street and things like that. It's been beneficial, and it can continue to be beneficial if we use it properly.
I'm so thankful for you sharing your wisdom. I'm so thankful that you had the dream and the vision to create a space for women in Florida to come and experience this. I hope more women have the opportunity to come to visit you and experience this amazing vaginal steaming experience. The next time I'm in Florida, which probably will be around Christmas time, I will have to stop in and you'll have to let me experience this. I am just in awe of you and what you're doing and what you stand for, and just you have so much knowledge.
Likewise.
So everyone can find you at the Pink Butterfly Bush on Instagram and your website, pinkbutterflybush.com. And are you on any other platforms?
I'm on Facebook. I need to get more active on Facebook, though. Pink Butterfly Bush, Bee Steam Lounge on Facebook. Really, if you can see a lot about the company, if you just Google Pink Butterfly Bush in Tampa.
Perfect. And they can find you there. If they need to reach out to you, they can. Do you offer any online consultations or any online services at this time?
I offer virtual, not virtual, I would say phone consultations. So
Perfect.
Yes, you can schedule a consultation. They're free. And you can fill out a little form with your symptoms and we'll chat more in detail about.
Do you ship the herbs to the people?
Yes, I do. Yes, I
love that. Then you just solved half my problems.
Yes.
So thank you so much for taking the time to be here. I'm so grateful for you. It was an honor to connect and serve you this week. If you are a spiritually curious person wanting to conceive and heal blockages in your fertility, click the link in the episode description to learn more about the Fertility Foundation Collective. Until next time, my friend, know you are loved.